If you are a people pleaser or someone who worries that telling the truth will hurt someone's feelings, what should you do if someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, or they suddenly change the plans? Like, oh, I actually decided to bring my friend along too for our hangout, this stranger that you don't even know, right? What do you say in situations like that? How do you assert yourself? How do you say, no, that's not going to work for me without sounding like a dick, without causing a rupture, without hurting feelings? Right? So, in this video, I'm going to offer you one thing to definitely not do and two things that might help you. This will be especially valuable if you are an INTJ, an ENTP, another personality type that values directness, accuracy, and truth, but you also want to be a good person. So, the first thing to not do is just say yes automatically. No worries, no problem, that's fine. Or to lie, right? To make up an excuse. Oh, actually, I just remembered that I have something that day. I can't do it anymore. It depends on the power dynamics. If this is your boss or someone else who kind of has power over you, or, there's a security concern or something like that, safety, like, yeah, sometimes maybe you do have to lie. You have to make up an excuse, right? But for the most part, if you just say yes habitually, no problem. That's okay. If you want that, that works for me. It's okay, right? That's just going to build resentment. And that's just going to increase the odds that some kind of rupture is going to eventually happen in the future. So let's say no to just saying yes or to just lying. So what can you do instead? So first, notice your initial reaction, right? And I'm guessing that it might be something like either you feel just a clear no in yourself, like, hell no, I don't want that. Or you feel some kind of confusion, like, wait, this is weird, this doesn't make sense. Why would you ask for that? Or why would you change that without checking in with me? Right? So if you feel for the first one, that's just a clear no. We'll talk about that in a minute because you might want to find a way to kind of soften that a bit. But great, if you notice that's what your initial reaction is, that's important information. Right? So let's talk about that second one first of some confusion or some wondering, like, well, I think I'm missing something, or I don't have all the kind of puzzle pieces here to be able to make an informed decision. So then, instead of just saying yes or no immediately, you might ask for more information. So, if they say, do you want to go to the beach? You might ask, like, oh, what are you hoping to do there? Are you hoping we're just going to kind of leisurely lounge? Are you hoping we're going to go for a swim, go snorkeling? Like, could you say more about what you're imagining? Great. Then it makes sure that you two are on the same page, that your imagined story of what this looks like matches their imagined story of what this looks like. Because often it's really easy to just talk past each other. They say something, the beach, and to them that means super relaxation doing nothing all day. But for you, the beach means we're going to go hiking along the side and exploring and snorkeling, and it's a much more active thing, right? So let's align. What do we mean by the beach? As another example, let's say you had plans to hang out one-on-one, and they say, hey, I actually decided I'm going to bring my friend along that you don't know. But don't worry, they're super cool. Your reaction might be like, wait, hold on. I don't know anything about this person. I'm confused. I thought this was just going to be us, right? So instead of just discounting that, like, that doesn't matter, that's silly, I should be open to friends. They said they're cool. Why should I? There's something wrong with my reaction. I shouldn't be confused here. I shouldn't be resistant. I should welcome this. No, you shouldn't. What you should do is be with your authentic reaction, right? There's no reason that you have to be nice by saying, yay, you're bringing your friend too, right? Like, no, you had a plan. It was the two of you that were going to hang out. This person just changed the plan without asking you. The kind thing for them to do would be say, hey, I recognize that we had a plan to hang out, the two of us. I just heard from my friend that they want to hang out too. How would you feel about if I brought them along? And then you get to say yes or no. But if they just decided, hey, I'm bringing the friend, you're allowed to have a resistant reaction. So what you might do there then is be curious. Ask for more information. So really the core question you might have is why? Why are you bringing this friend? What are you hoping for here, right? Or it might be like, wait, I was wanting to hang out one-on-one. I don't want a third person there. Um, One tip, though, is what I found psychologically is that often if we say why did you do that, that can feel a bit strong for some people. Like if you imagine at work, like let's say you kind of messed up on something and your boss says, why did you do that? That feels a bit like, ooh, I get defensive. But if instead the boss says, hey, could you kind of talk me through your approach there? I'd love to figure out like what happened, what went wrong there. That feels much more, um, like we're exploring that as a team. And for some people, that might feel like, oh, that's too wishy-washy. That's too feelings-oriented language. But a lot of people like the feelings-oriented language. Right? But if that's too much for you, a simpler way of asking why could be like, what's your intention? Or I'm curious what you're hoping for with this time together. Or what are you imagining here? What are you wanting out of this time together? Maybe for you, you were hoping to have a deep conversation about some tender part of your life, like you want to talk about your recent breakup or something. And now this weird stranger's coming along. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to have a sensitive, vulnerable conversation. Right? Um, so that could be useful to explain, right? You're again trying to align your stories, your understanding. So, what were you hoping for with this time together? Oh, cool. Well, I was actually hoping we could have a more intimate conversation. So, my preference would be that we just keep it the two of us. How does that feel? Um, but maybe you ask why, or like, hey, I'm curious, like, what makes you want to bring this person along? Then they can give you more information. They might say, oh, well, they're only in town for a day, so it's really important to me that I spend this time with you, with them. Then you can say, oh, cool. Well, we can see each other anytime, so why don't the two of you just hang out today and we can catch up another time? Or maybe they say, actually, I've told this person a lot about you, and I would really love for the two of you to meet. Oh, wow, that's a very different intention. Then you get to feel into, well, oh, do I want that? You might ask for more information. Oh, could you tell me a bit about this person? That's valid. Then that can help me decide if I want to hang out with them or not. All right. So hopefully you can see kind of the core thing here is really just your reaction is valid. It's okay to feel what you feel, and to be curious, to just ask for more information before you make your decision. And then I promised, by the way, I was going to talk about no, how to just say no. I don't want that. Um, so in general, no can just be a complete sentence. That I would actually prefer that we just be the two of us. Is that okay? Right? And then you can talk about the feelings. They might say, "Oh, well, I was really hoping for this." Okay, well, I'm hoping for this, and maybe we can negotiate a little. But here's one little tip. Um, what I found sometimes is that kind of just like with comedy, you might say there are kind of two types of humor. One is where you're kind of making fun of someone else, and the other is where you're kind of making fun of yourself. And I personally think that some of the most skilled comedians are the kind ones. They're not making fun of others, but they're kind of poking fun at themselves. Like, oh, I'm such a goofball. Wow, I totally forgot what my next line was going to be. Yeah, and then they can kind of make a joke about themselves, so no one in the audience feels bad, right? It's not cruel comedy. It's fun comedy because you're making fun of yourself. Um, and so one way of saying no is really kind of taking ownership. This is my thing. It's not a no to you. Um, so uh, you can frame little things as like, actually I have this weird pet peeve that uh, I know this is weird, but I find it really annoying when someone slurps their soup loudly when they're eating. Would you mind trying to be a little quieter with that? I know it's weird, right? So notice how you're kind of making fun of yourself, you're taking ownership, you're not saying, what are you doing? That's really annoying. Stop slurping. So that's how you can set a clear boundary with a no. Um, or, even with the example with bringing the friend, you could say, hey, that totally makes sense that you want to bring someone else and that more people sounds more fun for you. But for me, I'm maybe a little weird, but I'm kind of a big introvert. I really prefer just one-on-one hangouts rather than group hangouts. Does that sound okay? So that's often just much easier to receive. If you're taking ownership for it, if you're kind of laughing at yourself or saying, this is my weird quirk or whatever, then it feels less like an attack, less like a judgment, less likely to make them defensive. All right. Hope this helps. I invite you right now to take a moment and really check in with what kind of situations do you face where it feels hard to say no, or you find yourself just lying or making an excuse or just saying yes. And is there a way that you could use one of these strategies of trying to find more information, being curious, saying no, making fun of yourself in some way, taking ownership, so that you both get what you want, or you're not pushing down your own needs, and you're also being kind. So, hope that helps. I wish you a nourishing day.